Sustaining Creativity Podcast. I'm your host, Mari Riesberg. Over the past several years, I've combined my degrees in acting and somatic psychology to share my sustaining creativity techniques with performers. And now I've decided to share it with a bigger audience that includes you. I believe we are all creative, and this podcast is all about that. I'll be interviewing people from all backgrounds, ages, and creativity experiences to share just how creative we all are. Today, I'll be chatting with Bran Katanec. He's a musician and healer. Please enjoy Bran Katanec. Welcome to the Sustaining Creativity Podcast. Today, I am here with Bran Katanec, a musician and healer. Welcome to the podcast.
Thank you so much, Mari. I'm really happy to be here. Thanks for having me.
You are so welcome. I'm really happy to have you here with me to talk about creativity and, healing and music and all of the pieces that you share. But before we dive into the world of creative conversations, if you wouldn't mind sharing a little bit about who you are and what you do.
Yeah, well, first of all, I'm a musician, first of all, and this has been since the age of 15 with me, and it basically saved my life. So when I introduce myself, I say that I'm a musician because without music, I don't know where I would be today.
Yeah.
So musician, and then, throughout my life, facing a lot of adversity and then very difficult times, coming from Eastern Europe,
Mm-hmm.
and eventually ending up, North America and living here and so on. It was quite a journey, and so there's a lot to be learned in each of our journeys. But what I want to point out is, me as a musician and really wanting to do music and not being able to do it where I lived, where I was born and
Mm-hmm.
raised almost, like half of my life was, it was a quest for self-expression and a quest for creativity. And so for that to happen, I needed to go through a lot of healing,
Mm-hmm.
through a lot of self-discovery, because the way I was before, it just, if even if I had become successful with music early on in, let's say, in my 20s, I think it would be I kind of the end of me, because I just wasn't equipped. I didn't
Mm-hmm.
know myself enough, and I wasn't equipped to deal with all the challenges that a successful music career could bring to me. So anyway, so going back to music, and then there was this period of my life where I just really sat down with myself and started really going deep, getting to know myself, really doing the healing work, the inner work. And that's why the other thing that I'm doing today, and I've been doing for almost 10 years. I'm helping people go through the same process, because we all need expression. We all need to express. We all need to be creative. And so for that to happen, in my opinion, in my case, it was like I really needed to go through a lot of healing for
Mm-hmm.
that to really happen the way it's supposed to be happen, and the way it's supposed to happen, and in a, I would say, in a very healthy and very gentle way.
Mm-hmm. Nice. Beautiful. And that self-awareness of needing to go through all of that healing and to be where you are today. Also, hearing you say in your 20s you weren't equipped to have a successful music career. I don't know anyone in their 20s who really is equipped to do that. But what incredible insight to have and recognize that, or is maybe that's like looking back on it and seeing that you weren't equipped. But yeah, what a beautiful journey to arrive now and to hear how important and impactful music has been on your life, and it sounds like continues to be in your life today.
It does. I always remember my first creative times, and we all have our influences. And so for me,
Mhm.
that was my grandmother.
Mm.
I was probably, I don't know, 6, 7, 8 years old when I watched my grandma create these beautiful pieces of art
Mm.
right in front of my eyes. And I just, there are no words that can really describe it. And I asked her to teach me, and she wasn't really that good of a teacher. She tried to teach me, but she didn't kind of, she just had the gift. And I was
Yeah.
just so privileged to be able to watch her
Mm.
create these beautiful art pieces. She used to buy those clay plates, like round
Mm.
clay plates,
Mm-hmm.
and she would just draw things and paint things on them, and it was just such a sight. And that was my first inspiration. And
Mm.
she always, whenever we would do something, obviously I grew up mostly with my grandmother around. My parents were very busy, and so she was so creative. We would go out into the backyard and we would, just do creative things. She would give me tasks. And so I would make things out of almost nothing. So she kind of taught me how to think creatively. And
Yeah.
so when I started playing guitar,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that was it for me. I could actually really find my way. And whatever I learned on guitar, I was able to kind of, this one little thing, and I would start exploring
Mm.
and see where that goes. And then,
Mm-hmm.
oh, I would come up with this and come up with that. So for me, I guess, I was lucky to have been exposed to creativity in such a way at such a young age. So I consider
Yeah.
myself lucky.
Absolutely. And what a beautiful way to have creativity show up in your life and be encouraged and supported. And I'm curious, when you think about creativity today or earlier in your life, what does it mean to you to be creative?
It's everything to me. It really is
Mm.
everything. And this is what we need to understand, all
Mhm.
of us on this planet, is that we create every day.
Mm.
Whether we like it or not, whether we want it or not, we are creative because we get to get up every day, and
Yeah.
we make decisions, and we choose what we want to create, how we
Mhm.
want our day to go. So when someone tells me that they're not creative, I almost I burst laughing. And I remember this one person. She said, Bran, I don't have one creative bone in my body.
I love when people say that.
And I'm looking at her. I'm standing in front of her house in her beautiful yard, her
Mhm.
beautiful garden, and she does these creative things with flowers, with pots, with
Mm.
you name it. And she's saying this, and I said, "Well, this doesn't really sound like the truth." Anyway, so what I realized, from a healer's point of view, is
Yeah.
everyone needs to get rid of this belief that they're not creative.
Mhm.
This is a must. We're not in the 20th century anymore. Like, this is the 21st. Come on. We're
We're
way beyond.
evolving.
Exactly. We're way beyond our parents and grandparents and what they went through. So we have this opportunity. For them, it was not as easy to shake this off.
Mhm.
They had to go through a lot of stuff, and maybe at the age of 50, 60, 70, they come to something close to that. But
Mhm.
we have an opportunity at this younger age, much younger indeed, to actually just say, no, actually, this
Mm.
is not even my belief in the first place. Maybe I got it from my parents. Maybe I got it from my grandparents,
Yeah.
my friends, who knows, the surroundings. But we don't have to do that anymore. We don't
Mhm.
have to shut ourselves away from this beautiful life and this approach to life that can lead to so many things.
Mhm. So, in from that healer perspective, how does someone shake it off or transform the messages that they received early on about creativity into we are all creative?
That's a great question. That's really a great question. And the best answer that I can give, and please, everyone, please listen to this. Because I worked with, I started as a healer, I started working with subconscious beliefs and subconscious programs. So I really know how the subconscious works.
Yeah.
But even knowing all that, and by today, I really, what overrides everything, what's the strongest of all, is just making the decision.
Mm.
First of all, to get rid of the belief,
Mm-hmm.
the negative belief. Then the second, that yes, I am creative.
Mm.
And the acknowledgement that yes, I am creating every day. And then the question, what do I want to create? And
Great
that's it.
question.
Like, and
Yeah.
this is it. And so this is it. Decisions are the strongest, bring the strongest change, and they are definite. When a
Mm-hmm.
person makes a decision, it overrides any healing work, inner work, and it needs to be a firm, strong decision.
Mm.
So I guess, we all need to sit down and think for a little bit, just for a little bit, and then come to a place where we can make that decision.
Mm-hmm.
And then we just take it from there, and our life really changes,
Yeah.
really changes for the better.
Nice. I mean, I really hear a lot of making that intentional choice to align or invest more energy and time in creative pursuits or creativity in general, seeing life through that creative lens and taking it, piece by piece. It may not happen all at once. And it's that process of making the choice to identify things in your life that are creative, to kind of continue seeing more creativity in your life each and every day.
Intention is very important. Yes,
Mhm.
yes, very important.
Nice. And I imagine as a musician and as a healer, you've probably come up against challenges in both of those arenas. What are some of the challenges that you have faced, and how do you navigate them in creative ways?
Well, again, as much as some would say that I was unfortunate, I was fortunate to actually experience a war at the age of 12.
Oh,
And so when a child experiences something like that,
hmm,
after having a happy childhood
yeah.
and everything fine and blissful, even
Hmm.
happy times, happy memories, then all of a sudden comes war. So challenges to me after that, and after my parents getting divorced, which I
Hmm.
was very attached to my dad who left.
Hmm.
And so after those two things happened to me, nothing really seemed like that big of a challenge.
Mm,
Because I had to put myself together enough to continue living,
right.
first of all.
Yeah.
So I really use what my grandma taught me. Believe me, I did, because I had
Yeah.
to. I wanted to stay alive. I wanted to be well, and so anything later on, I just really had a certain mindset, and it does help. So
Yeah.
mindset is very important. And it is about, for me, it was, I can only speak for myself. For me, it was about turning everything that I'm facing into something positive, just
Hmm.
right away transforming. So presented with a challenge of, I don't know, let's say, let's go to music. For
Hmm.
example, in my hometown, I couldn't stay. It was probably my early 20s when I had to leave, because there was no way there was no one to play music with anymore. I tried all the bands, I recorded in studios, I performed live. And then when my last band broke up, I just said, no, I need to leave.
Hmm.
So finding new solutions in this creative way, and it's not just, being creative with your solutions, it's using your creativity and whatever you have of creative nature in your life to move you, to propel you forward.
Hmm.
This is what I was doing, and this is what I know how to do best. And so it eventually led me here. Like, I mean, I live in Canada, on the west coast of Canada, and life is better than ever before. But when I look back, there's so many decisions that I needed to make. And again,
Mhm.
using creative solutions, transforming and everything into something positive, and
Mhm.
then using my strength as a musician and protecting that creativity. We need to protect it.
Mm.
None of us is born in most people are not born in the most favorable situations and conditions.
Yeah.
And so for example, because everything else in my life crumbled, everything I knew that
Mhm.
existed for me that I loved and appreciated,
Yeah.
and maybe even took for granted at that age, of course, kids do, of course,
Mhm.
fell apart. And then with guitar being the guiding force in my life, something I could hang on to, it
Mhm.
gave me something to fight for. And that
Mm.
was so strong that I wanted to protect this
Yeah.
creative thing that I had that I didn't see that many people around me had. So I was like,
Mhm.
oh, no, no, I really need to protect this. So
Mhm.
this, yeah, that's why I'm here today. Otherwise, I don't know what would happen. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, wow, that's really powerful having something that you really identify with as that touchstone to keep you moving forward and keep you creative and expressing. And I imagine also feeling very deeply as a musician myself. I understand how deeply music lives within my whole being and how it can help process emotions and experiences. And it sounds like you were doing that at a very young age with the guitar and how it transformed much of your life, even through big upheaval and change.
Yeah, you see, when we're young, it's, other people's opinions matter too much. We get swayed by this or that, or
Mhm.
want to keep our friends, or we want to do this, or we want to have a good life.
Mhm.
But what can happen is we let go of what's important to us. So I knew
Mhm.
what was important to me. And so
Yeah.
when someone approached me and tried to knock on my beliefs, change my direction, or say, no, you don't stand a chance, this is not going to work, I said, no, no, it's going to work. Thank you very much. I said, always thank you very much. But I really know, like, or someone was offering something to me. There were opportunities. I said, oh, this doesn't feel that right for me. It doesn't feel
Mhm.
good. I thank you very much, but I'm gonna just continue on my way. So I was able to kind of put all those distractions aside and make my way through a bunch of things that I see a lot of young people today kind of
Mhm.
fall down steep cliffs and holes, and it's hard to get out of that.
Yeah. I mean, I'm just hearing how strong you know who you are. And it sounds like who you knew who you were at a very young age. Where do you think you got that? What supported that in you?
That's even a better question, because I haven't asked myself that question. I've been shying away from that question. I believe that I
Mhm.
was born like that because there was
Mhm.
always something different about me and the
Mm.
way I was making decisions as a little boy as
Mhm.
well. It was just very different than anyone else. And I remember in my first memory of being different, I wasn't aware of it until I think it was the third grade of elementary school. And
Mhm.
so I was in my class, and my classmates it was about 30 of us, and it was a beautiful time. I loved everyone, everyone loved me, everyone respected one another. And we had this teacher, and he came that day and he suggested something, and the whole class was supposed to vote for something.
Mhm.
And whatever he suggested, I did not resonate with, I did not like, and I thought, this is not going to be good for us. If we vote yes for this,
Mm.
the whole class but myself raised hands to say yes.
Mm,
And I was like, where I was looking left and right, who are these? Who
mm,
are my friends?
yeah.
Why am I, how, I couldn't understand, I couldn't comprehend. So that, looking back today, that was
Mm-hmm.
the first sign, and that was the first thing where I kind of knew what was right, and I had a good sense for what was right and what was wrong. At least that from a very, very
Mm-hmm.
early age, very young
Yeah.
age. And so they voted yes,
Mm-hmm.
and it really backfired on them. It, I ended up being right. It's not that I want to be right or wrong.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't matter. But I had a good sense of the situation
Yeah.
at the age of 8 years old. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And it sounds like you carried that through, just knowing who you are. It's hard as a human to know your identity and choose your identity and have it change and grow as you learn new things and grow as a person too. But it's impressive.
Oh,
That's-
thank you. It's not an easy life to live, but
I believe that.
but there are rewards. You know, there are
Yeah.
rewards that come with that. Yeah.
Hmm. Yeah. When you think about inspiration, where do you find inspiration in your life?
I easily get inspired.
Yeah.
It's just I guess, being aware of the fact that I can create
Hmm.
whatever I choose to create every day, especially with music.
Yeah.
And so just acknowledging that, and then really appreciating the privilege of
Mm.
being in a position to create. So that's enough for me just to get me going. And
Hmm.
I don't have to write 100 songs a year, or even 3 songs a year. It's just consistently keeping myself in that zone of creativity and just keep working on something
Yeah.
that fulfills me.
Nice. I love that. That just allowing creativity to show up and creating something and not having, big parameters or structure around it, but allowing that flow to happen. And yeah, that's a hard aspect of creativity to tap into regularly for many people. And it sounds like you have a very strong capacity to tap into that flow and create and not get into that judgment space of it needs to be a certain length or quality, or that you allow it to be whatever it is.
That's where the healing part comes in,
Mm,
because whatever expression of mine I put out, it's fine.
that's
That's the
amazing.
thing. It's just an expression of me. It's just a little
Yeah.
piece of something much bigger. And it can be 1 minute long. It can be, just the guitar. It can be just doesn't matter. It can be guitar and synth and drums and bass, and whatever it is. And I take different approaches to writing. I first, sometimes I'll make a drum beat first. Sometimes I'll make the guitar part first, and it's sometimes it'll start with a synthesizer sound, and
Mhm.
it just, I like to have fun with it. I like to experiment. Yeah. I
I
just
love
have
it.
fun with it. Yeah, and it, a lot of people put pressure on themselves. And yes, if the way things used to be with the music industry and so on, you were working with you had to work with pressure,
Hmm.
because someone invested the money in you, and there were timelines and deadlines, and you were kind of, depending on your contract, you could have been controlled in certain
Hmm.
ways, and how what you were supposed to write, how you were supposed to write, how you're supposed to present yourself. But that's all gone today. You can do
Mm.
whatever you want.
Hmm.
That's the reality. And so I believe, once people wake up to that,
Mm.
I mean, we're just going to have this huge revolution of just beautiful, creative, oh, it's just beautiful creativity, the amazing things happening, amazing
Yeah.
creations, and just joyful time.
Oh, I love that. The joyful time. I think that I look forward to more of that these days. What do you, when you working with people that you work with around, you know, healing and creativity, and for people who don't feel they are creative, how would you support them to find creativity in their life?
It's a good one. Again,
I
thank
ask
you.
the
Thank you,
good
Mari. Thank
questions.
you.
You're
That's
welcome.
great. Well, I have to think about this for a moment. Yeah, you said, just to just to repeat what you said, for those who don't feel like they're creative, like they
Yeah.
don't feel creative. Again, healer's perspective here. Why would we be afraid of our own expression?
Great question.
Yeah, because the feeling doesn't really come from us. It
Mm,
comes from the outside judgment of the outside world. And maybe our
mhm,
parents were strict or not supportive of us
mhm.
creatively.
Yeah.
Maybe someone early on um, said, "Oh, that we're no good, that we're not creative," and we took it to heart. We actually believed them, put us down, and who knows what happened. Some of us, don't even sometimes don't remember what happened,
Right.
but we carry this thing inside of us, and it is that feeling that you just mentioned,
Mhm,
almost about being ashamed to be
mm,
creative, to
mhm.
express. So people, please don't do that. And it's as simple as that. Just wake up to the fact that everything is fine with you. There's nothing wrong with you, and whatever your expression is, it's perfectly okay.
Mm,
And we have to start somewhere. And so
mhm,
this is what I was free because of my grandmother to do. When I've taught a lot of people to play guitar in the last 20 years.
mhm.
And so what I noticed was, again, I would love to bring in the more and more to the healing perspective to teaching guitar.
Mhm.
And so when anyone learns to play any instrument, they're going to struggle at first.
Oh.
There are no exceptions,
Mhm.
but it's different how we all treat each other
Mm,
during the learning process.
mhm.
So if I see a student, my one of my guitar students, let's say, and he or she is all of a sudden, I give them something to do on the guitar or to learn something or to try something out. It's not coming together. They're not doing it, like they're not happy with what's going on, how
Mhm.
they're doing it and how it's coming out. They're going to start to be hard on themselves.
Yeah.
And so this is, people, no, please remember, catch yourself. And this is why I'm saying it like this directly. We
Mhm.
need to catch ourselves when we start doing these things
Yeah.
and wake up right away. We kind of need to install a monitor or a sensor to alert us, ding, 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 a little bell to come off and just say, hey, you're doing this again. But this is not, you don't have to do this. You can be
Mhm.
kind to yourself, cheer yourself on, encourage yourself, you know just
Yeah.
say you're doing great. But if it's not sounding good today, it's gonna sound good tomorrow. It's like something. It's this is the turning negativity into positivity right away, but we need to be able to do that for ourselves first.
Yeah. Nice. Yeah. Great reminders, and turning it into a positive statement or mantra that we will actually believe, I think is also the key of what you're talking about. Because I think sometimes
Yeah.
people think, oh, I'm taking this horrible negative thing and making it the most positive, amazing thing. But if we can't believe it or buy into that positive, amazing thing yet, what's the the middle road.
Yeah. So I'm not talking about the positive, amazing thing at all. I'm just talking
Mhm.
about the reality of realizing that we don't need the negativity.
Yeah.
It's just
Yeah.
something that's really not needed at all, and it's just in the way. So why would we want to keep it? Anyway, so people have their reasons to, to stay stuck, and it's
Hmm.
fine. Not everyone's going to be ready to move
Yeah.
forward with their life like that. It's totally fine. I don't want to knock on anyone's, like free will, and
Hmm.
just please do whatever feels right for you, but just please be aware
Yeah.
that this is not needed. The negativity is not needed. Negative self-talk is not needed. Being
Mhm.
hard on ourselves is not needed. The opposite is needed. And if we can get into a habit of doing that, the positive, the things,
Mhm.
the good things, it's just about creating that habit. And
Yeah.
that it's normal. Like this negative things used to be. Like
Hmm.
it's just we don't need that. We can make a habit out of something positive.
Nice. No, I love that. And building new habits, and when we build them through play, they happen faster, which I think is fun to,
Yeah.
to have that as
Yeah.
a part of, bringing more creativity into our life. Well, this
Yeah.
has been such a treat, but go ahead, say what you're going to say.
Just one example. I just want to bring up one example. So when when any of my like anyone that I work with, either as a guitar teacher or just a facilitator of healing for them, or just
Mhm.
just supporting them in moving forward in this healthy way, just really honoring themselves and being who they need to be in the world, is, let's say again, I'm going to just mention guitar just for one moment. So let's say one of my students is struggling, and but they really want to create, they really want to express, and they just kind of not used to it. They're kind of not, I don't know where to go, how to do this, how to do, like, how do you think creatively, how do
Mhm.
you make music out of this or that, or what do you do with the knowledge that you have? Where does this creativity come from? Where does this music come from that you're creating? And so then I gave them an assignment, one or two, but one right away. I said, well, you see this, you take this finger and you put it there, and then you hit the string with your other hand. How does that sound? That sounds good. Okay, so now you move that up and you hit it again. And then let's say, I just quickly, we start making music,
Mhm.
then we record it, and then listen
Mhm.
back to themselves. And then I say, well, this is you. This is your
Mhm.
expression. You've recorded this. You are creative. Here's your proof.
Mhm.
You can do a lot more of that. Just feel free to do so.
Mm. There's lots of invitation and permission, it sounds like. And what a gift to give to someone else who isn't getting that in other places or familiar in that experience, to support someone to be authentically themselves and to create and produce what's inside of them. I love it. It's keep doing it. It's
Of course.
fantastic.
That's what
Yeah,
I'm here to do.
I
That's
love
why I'm
it.
here.
Well, it's been such a pleasure chatting with you. I just have one last question. What does it feel like in your body to be creative?
It's the best feeling ever that
Mhm.
anyone can experience. It's just this, it's hard to describe it. That's why I call it just being in the zone. It's just you're there, and just everything flows, and it's playful and it's fun and it's
Mm.
so fulfilling. It just makes me feel so good, and I get so energized and vibrant, and it's just this
Mm.
it's that's it. That's how I can best describe it. That's
I
it.
love it. It's amazing. I feel that awe and the energy and the playfulness and all of it when you talk about it. So
it all comes together,
yeah.
all of it in one moment at once. Yes.
So beautiful. Well, thank you so much for sharing all of these pieces today. And if people want to learn more about the things that you do, how would they go about doing that?
Well, you can Google my name, Bran Katanec, or you can find my website, BEnergyAware.com. That's just one E, B-E, EnergyAware. That is BEnergyAware.com. Anyway, everything's there. You can contact me through the website. You can find all the social media, my music, everything is there. Yeah, any work that I do, my podcast as well.
Wonderful.
BEnergyAware Podcast. Yeah, I would love to hear from more people, especially if they're struggling with these kinds of things. Yeah, there's lots to do, lots to receive, and like you said, the permission. I would just like to say for the ending, as far as I'm concerned, the permission piece that you just mentioned. I guess that's all we need to do. Just give ourselves that permission to be creative. Even if we're still struggling with those beliefs, or doubting ourselves, or even being hard on ourselves, but at least we can give ourselves that permission to be creative, because it can give us so much back.
What a beautiful way to wrap up our chat today, the podcast episode. Thank you so much for taking the time to chat with me. It has been such a pleasure.
Thank you so much, Mari. I've really enjoyed this.
Wonderful.
Thank you so much.
Me too. It's great. Thanks for listening to the Sustaining Creativity Podcast. We'd love to keep in touch, so follow us on Facebook and Instagram. We are at Sustaining Creativity. Make sure to subscribe to the podcast wherever you listen to podcasts. Tag your friends and family so they can listen too. We love to hear from you, so leave your reviews, comments, and questions. Check out our website, sustainingcreativity.com, for upcoming offerings and creativity coaching. Tune in Tuesdays for our next episode. And remember, with creativity, anything's possible.